Hello, I'm Glenn W. Hunter, and with me today, James Dat Yoga Dude is here with us. James Dat Yoga Dude Woods, and this is the Feel Free to Feel Free podcast.
Yep, it's James Woods, aka Dat Yoga Dude. But feel free to feel free. Welcome, 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 welcome.
So, in our ongoing effort to just bring more knowledge and also a better mindset to our followers, today we're going to talk about anger. We're going to grab the bull by the horns, talk about anger. The struggle's real, and there's a lot of pressures going on right now. So, James, I mean, when we talk about anger, again, you're probably the most chilled person, at least in this room, and probably for many, many rooms. But, why is that so important right now?
Anger is huge and important right now because of the stem of anger, man. It's a lot of anger that's coming from frustration, a lot of anger coming from confusion, a lot of anger coming from being just overstressed, stressed out. And I deal with it at the same time too. I may look cool and stuff all the time, but even I deal with anger. And one of the biggest things that I help to even show up here and be in this space to deal with my anger is to be able to breathe. So before we get into our discussion on anger and how it's showing up in a classroom, on a campus, in your office, let's take a minute just to breathe so we can really have a cool, collected conversation. I was going to say cool as a cucumber. But we're going to have that conversation, but first we're going to have some breathing. So wherever you are, align yourself. Let your shoulders relax. Sitting up nice and tall because you want to get a full breath down deep into your diaphragm, your belly. Finding a place for your hands to relax comfortably. Soften the jaw. And let the breath expand in your belly. Be firm on the ground. On the count of three, we want to inhale through the nose. And then exhale through the mouth. Exhale through the mouth. On the count of three. 1, 2, 3. Deep inhale, breathe in. Long exhale through the mouth, breathe out. Inhale. And exhale. Deep inhale. And exhale. So just for those moments of breath, I wasn't angry. I wasn't frustrated. Or if I was, I wasn't acting out on it. So as we know, if you don't know, anger is a lot of times a secondary emotion, a reaction to our frustration, a reaction to our confusion, a reaction to our fear. And especially talking about those terms, it's a lot of that going on right now. We have a lot of people returning to offices, returning to desks, returning to spaces that many people are in, especially young people, and not everyone is following the protocol. Not everyone knows what the protocol is. Not everyone is willing to be a part of what we're all going along with or what we're not going along with. So there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of agitation, a lot of frustration, which can breed anger. And anger can come out in a whole lot of different ways. Cussing out your coworker, being resentful with the kids or the staff that you're working with, or just not putting in that extra you because you so angry, you so bound up, you don't have anything to give, you feel like. And that is not a way that we want to bring ourselves into any workspace, any home space, any space where we're dealing with others, and especially dealing with ourselves. So anger is something that I hear a lot about. People angry at the administration, angry at the parents, angry at the situation. And I really want to provide just some tools and tips to help us deal with the anger and the root causes of the anger that are popping up for so many people that we care for and we work with. Glenn, have you been hearing about people being angry and frustrated and all the kind of stuff that's been going on lately?
Absolutely. And from my perspective, I get a chance to look at it from a global or national perspective with some of the work that I do in the business community. But from a social standpoint, it really hits home daily when you see anger, just people interacting.
Right.
Whether it's anger on the roads, road rage has recurred here, particularly in the Inland Empire, or just neighbors looking at each other inappropriately, sort of with tension in their own neighborhoods. It's like,
Right.
folks, we're home, but it doesn't stay in the house. It's actually spilling into the street, over hedges with neighbors talking. And to your point, a lot of it is just not managing the emotion.
Right, right, right. And when we talk about managing emotion, we can't leave out and exclude the social aspect of it. We have to talk about it, social, emotional learning, social emotional wellness. As Glenn just talked about, my anger affects Glenn. My anger affects you who are out there watching us. My anger affects the people on the road. My anger affects the kids that I serve. My anger creates a ripple socially, and that also comes back at me. If I want to have more happiness, if I want to have more peace and joy in my life, I need to find a way to manage my anger, or it's going to affect those who are in my social circle, and that's going to affect the way I interact in the world, the way I show up, the way I learn, and how I'm well. So it definitely is a ripple effect. It is something that if you feel like your anger is just your anger, and you have the right to be angry, you do. You have the right to be angry. But then you also have to look at how it's affecting the kids, how it's affecting the people at your job, how it's affecting your parents, how it's affecting the people that love and care for you, or the people that are just in your space and vicinity. So much stuff is online, so much stuff is in your face to fuel your anger. It can make you unconscious of how your anger is affecting you and those around you. You don't want to be stressed. You don't want to be tight. You don't want to have to depend on external things to calm yourself down. So we want to just talk about some ways that you can manage your emotions, especially that anger one, to create better social environments for improved learning and improved learning for yourself and those that you serve.
You know, let's put a pin in learning right now, because a place where anger is really manifesting is in the schoolhouse, in the classrooms right now. A lot of uncertainty, you alluded to that, a lot of tension, and people are saying the rules are changing and we don't quite know what they are. And that goes for administrators, teachers, and students.
Right.
So when you start thinking about how anger can manifest itself, what are your thoughts about maybe diffusing some of the tension in the classroom so that less anger becomes evident?
Well, a very smart, wise man who went to Berkeley told me that schools have a certain rhythm. You know who belongs there. You know when class periods pass, how people go, when the kids who are trying to dip out. You know where the teachers hide or the teachers don't hide. You notice the different rhythms of life that happens on a campus. You're there 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. And when that rhythm is disrupted by stress, when that rhythm is disrupted by chaos, when that rhythm is disrupted by confusion, it becomes an emotional social reaction. So when that anger pops up and you see there's more fights, you see there's kids tearing up the bathroom because of some kind of challenge or whatever. You see that teachers are not working and coordinating with each other, so communication breaks down. You see the communication between parents and educators break down. Of course, the kids are always left out. It disrupts the rhythm of campus, and it causes more anger to feed on each other. Even when you look into the sports world, I play football, and if the coach is angry, we're going to pay for it. So if there's no communication, if there's no collaboration, if there's no really addressing of the issues that are bubbling up, it'll disrupt the rhythm of the campus, and it'll leave, especially the kids, without the education that they need. And it'll leave the employees who come to the school every day to work, leaving like they drained, leaving like they stressed out, leaving like, feeling like, oh man, I gotta come here another day, when is retirement? And then you got parents who I just wanna drop my kid off and leave them there. I'm not trying to follow the rules, I'm not trying to. So that anger just disrupts the whole flow of a school campus, which disrupts the education of our babies. So it shows up in so many different ways on how it can just knock off the flow and the rhythm of a school campus just because of anger and those emotions that are popping up and bubbling up.
Now, I like the point specifically you talked about parents dropping off their babies. And unfortunately, putting some of that anger, some of that tension on the child.
Right.
You know, whether it's a fight over a mask or it's a fight over finding the socks or you're not wearing that T-shirt to school today.
Right, right, right.
You have these classic issues, and now all of a sudden you bring in all the tension of a pandemic.
Right.
And what's real and what isn't. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole of what's real and what isn't, but I do think it's important to realize that there's tension within the perspective of what is normal behavior and how do we keep people safe in a school building. So bringing it all back into one question, how should parents be communicating to ease tension as they're letting their young one get to class, whether they're walking, busing, whatever it is? What should parents be leaving with their children so that they'll be able to function better and with less anger when they get to school?
Perfect. It's a process that we have in our Feel Free to Feel Free program where it helps to bring in the communication. You know, they talk about restorative practices where people can have and create safe spaces to share and be vulnerable and open up and release a lot of those emotions that bring about the tension. All right, so when we have a space where we feel whatever I share will be heard, whatever I share will be received, validated or unvalidated, questioned, but it's a safe place to do it, it creates ease in that tension. It allows the voice of the child to be heard, it allows the voice of the parent to be heard, the voice of the administrator, the educator to be heard. A lot of times when we disrupt the flow of campus with our anger, with our frustration, is because people are feeling like they're not heard. So when we build a safe place through yoga, through mindfulness, through meditation, and through these restorative practices that we have in our program, it allows people to feel like I am heard. I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm frustrated, I'm upset because X, Y, Z is happening, there's a pandemic going on, but at least I know I'm heard, at least I know I'm not alone, or I am alone, and nobody else may feel and think like I do, but they understand where I'm at, they understand where I'm coming from. So when you get it out, you communicate what you're feeling, you express what's going on with you, you can rebuild the rhythm of the school. You can rebuild the rhythm of your campus by being able to process and get those emotions out and start to build on healing, start to build on what can work for it. But if you've got so much resentment, anger, and tension within you, all you are trying to do is just survive from day to day. As a parent, we just trying to, I gotta get this kid to school in and out, we just gotta get through this year, we just gotta get through it, we just gotta get through it, we just gotta get through it. I hear it so much. But as in the point of us getting through it, what are we leaving behind? We're coming into situations not being whole. And we have these restorative practices that restore ourselves through yoga, meditation, mindfulness, and being able to share and communicate as a whole, as a group, as a collective. So we include those skills and provide those different techniques within the programs that we build because we know it's real. And we know a lot of the education and the systems and the schools and the workplaces that we have are not built for people to express themselves safely. And we want to create those through the programming that we do.
Outstanding. You know, I think it's important to maybe bring in something a little bit creative into that environment because the normal pattern has been so disrupted in the last 2 years in essence. So I think when you're bringing in that that change in the routine, or you become the new routine, part of that, I think that gives our youth, and I think it also gives our teachers a chance to recalibrate so that they can again get focused on the job at hand, in this case, educating and empowering young people.
Right.
So when you have that working for you, you still have to deal with the adults who are still a little bit removed. Mm-hmm. In your programming, is there a way to actually help the office workers in a school building?
Yes. Office workers are there, the administrators, the mm-hmm. staff are there, providing services the whole 8 hours a day. To be able just to put it on a shelf for at least 30 minutes, to put it on a shelf for 15 minutes during the day, and I talk about it as just the anger, the frustration, the confusion, just to put it on the shelf for about 30 minutes is going to help them bring their whole selves back to the workplace. Because if you have to go the whole day tight, wound up, frustrated,
Right.
stressed out, it's hard for you to do your job. So in our program, we include practices and we include programming for even the administrators and educators and staff just to take a breath, just to put it on the shelf for a second, to have a second for themselves, to be able to come back fully into the work that they're doing and help those babies who come to the office and have a boo-boo on their shoulder or something like that, or trying to call their mom or whatever they're doing in there. Whatever important work that they are doing, they need to be there. So we create shelves, we create safe spaces to put that frustration, put that anger, put that confusion, and then go back to the work that they need to do. And those shelves and those places are in the programming through our yoga, meditation, mindfulness programming, just to take a second, take a break, peek out the window, see some sunshine, and then go back to the work that we're doing. So, yeah, we have those different pauses in the day that staff and administrators and educators can use to continue to do the vital work that they're doing.
You know, I particularly respect the way you were able to tie in the multiple generations of the stress that's being endured. I mean, I kind of led in with the question, but I think you did a great job of expanding it because it is not a one-size-fit-all type of approach.
No.
You know, and I think that type of closeness as you're interacting makes your programming that much more effective because I think that now all of a sudden that third grader, that ninth grader, who knows how many hormones and emotions are running through them at any given time, you know, they can see the solution that you're offering even in a group environment.
Mm-hmm.
So with that type of breadth in your approach and you're able to reach, how do all of them reach you?
Great question. And it's real. Once you start paying taxes, you don't exchange that for your adolescence and emotions. You still got those same feelings and things that you have, even though when you're an adult. And whether you're a youth contacting me or an adult, you can just contact me at my website, www.datyogadude, D as in dog, A as in Tom, A as in apple, T as in Tom, YOGA, I'm angry.com. And you can check out the programs that we have for the different levels of life, whether you're at a level like me, 35, just had a birthday, or at a level at 5, 2 years old, 3 years old, or whatever, and how you're showing up in life. We have some programming that can help you. So give us a call at 951-264-5467. Who calls anymore? Or you can email us at thatyogadude.com and find us there.
Outstanding, outstanding. So as we wind down, 2 points you want to make sure they put in their pocket, James. Please tell them right now. 2 points.
First point is your anger, your frustration is valid. It comes from a place that whatever you made up in your mind about it, it's valid. But it doesn't mean it has to continue. It doesn't mean it has to continue to cause your behaviors, to cause whatever things that probably are destructive that are going on with your life. So you have a choice with your anger. The second thing, your anger affects those around you. I know it's yours. I know you built it and you own it, but it affects those around you. It affects your environment, and it comes back to even fuel more anger. So it's your anger, it's your choice, and it affects other people. And you also have the choice to allow yourself to breathe through it and put it on the shelf for that moment and interact with other folks. I think that was 3. Sorry.
James, that yoga dude Woods. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for the impact you're making in our community daily.
Thank you, Glenn, for all of it. If you don't know, Glenn is an amazing mentor and an amazing just person. Glenn is a safe space. You know, I haven't seen Glenn angry, but I probably haven't golfed with him or something like that. But it's very important to have people in your life who you can be yourself with and connect with, and who are just not always angry all the time. Get some dope friends like Glenn.
I received the compliment, and I give to each and every one of you. Take some of the steps that we've suggested, share them, and take ownership of making sure you, as the individual, are both healing and, most importantly, breathing.
Yep. And as always, feel free to feel free, and namaste.